I was 17 at the time. It was towards the end of junior year in high school. And I remember waking up, and it was 3 a.m. All this stuff always happened at 3 a.m. And at this time, I had always had my room locked, just because privacy. And when I woke up, I was confused because my door was a little open. And I remember explicitly that I had locked the door. And what was weirder was that there was this orange light, this very faint orange light. And no lights in the house could make that same orange glow. And it was really confusing because, firstly, I had locked my door. And second, where was this light coming from? And I remember there was a 3-note whistle. And I'm not gonna pretend to know what it was, or I'm not gonna make up the tune. And even if I heard what it was at the time now, I probably can't confirm it because it's just something that I don't remember. So at this point, I'm more confused. I'm wondering if I'm dreaming or if this is sleep paralysis or whatever it is, because I did have sleep paralysis at the time. It was something that occurred fairly regularly for me then. I don't get it so much now, but back then it was kind of a problem. But this didn't feel like sleep paralysis. I could move if I wanted to. I remember moving my head and rolling over and moving my arms slightly, but, just making sure that I was, not dreaming. So after a few seconds of staring at the cracked door, it started to slowly open, and I could hear it creaking. And then this figure starts walking in, this shadow person, and it doesn't look like anyone I have seen before. It was just a silhouette, but it wasn't anyone I recognized. And what was very odd was that the eyes were completely black, except for the irises, which were a bright yellow. And they were staring directly at me. And I'm still not scared at this point. I'm just curious because I don't know what's going on. And I'm still in that sense that I'm in a dream. But it wasn't a dream. Or at least as far as I could tell, it wasn't a dream. So then this figure approached me and sat on the edge of my bed and just kept staring at me the whole time. And it wasn't doing anything but staring at me. And it was really unsettling at this point because I don't know who this is. I don't know what this is. But it's in my room now. And it's just staring at me. And then there was suddenly 2 loud bangs. It sounded like a metal dumpster being hit really hard. So it did it twice. And this disoriented me. My vision became really blurry. I couldn't tell shapes and objects anymore. The figure I knew was still there, but I was too shaken up by this sudden loud noise. And I started to panic because I didn't know what was happening. And my arms were above my head because I don't know what sleeping position I was, where I was lying on my back and my arms were above my head. But I remember struggling to breathe, so I put my hands on my chest and I started forcing myself to breathe. And after I had settled down and got my breathing under control, it did the 2 loud bangs again. And it did it again. My vision became very distorted, and I started to have trouble breathing again. Except after this time, when I calmed myself down and got my breathing under control, the figure was gone. And at this point, I was very, very afraid. This was the only point in my young adult life that I was afraid for my life. It was 3 a.m., and I remember staying up until 5 a.m. so that I could leave for the trip I had for school. At this point in my life, I wasn't very close to God, and now that I think back on it, it was after I had denounced my religion that this stuff started happening. So after arriving at the place I was to be dropped off for the trip, I was with my dad. And before getting out of the car, I told my dad there was someone in my room last night. And he asked me, "What do you mean?" And so I explained to him everything that happened. And after a bit of talking, he convinced me to pretty much tell the spirit or whatever it was that it's not welcome here. It's not welcome near me. And that whatever it is, it needs to leave me alone. And so when I got back from the trip, that's what I did. I went to my room and I told whatever it was that it wasn't welcome. And I told it with confidence because that was the key, that I needed to have confidence. At least that's what he told me. So I did what he said, and I didn't see it again. It wasn't the last time that I had strange occurrences like this happen, but this was the last time, for a long time at least, that I saw this shadow person. And to this day, I still don't know what it was that was in my room that night. Part of me still wants to believe that it was sleep paralysis, but I know for certain that it wasn't. I was wide awake and I wasn't dreaming. And I had always heard about shadow people before, but I had never really considered it happening to me. And when it did happen, it sort of put a new perspective on this sort of stuff. The only thing I can take away from this event is that if I didn't have any faith, then I was unshielded. I was vulnerable. And I didn't really think I needed to have some sort of protection from this kind of stuff because what could it do to me? But this incident showed me that I'm very much vulnerable to whatever this thing was. And I do feel like if it had some malicious intent other than just putting a scare in me, that it could have done something much worse. So yeah, shadow people are not fun. Hopefully this wasn't relatable, but I do hope that you at least got some sort of entertainment from my suffering. I sure as fuck didn't, but it is something I can look back on now and think, wow, that happened. And I guess my coping mechanism for these kinds of things is to make fun of it and tell it to other people so that they can at least get some entertainment out of, these things. I mean, hell, I'm still alive and I'm mostly normal. Kind of normal. A little normal. And again, if this is something relatable to people, or if you have your own stories that you want to share, please let me know. Get in contact with me. I do find this stuff really interesting. I don't want to make it seem like I'm taking advantage of anyone's situations, but more so make an outlet for people to share this kind of stuff, because it is frightening at the time. It's very scary when it happens, and I don't want people to feel like they're alone in this kind of stuff. But anyways, that's enough talking from me. I've rambled long enough. It's Spooktober, so enjoy yourselves. Get some Halloween candy, dress up as your favorite characters from whatever you want, or just have fun with your friends. And in the meantime, I'm going to go sulk in a corner and try to forget about this story because I don't think it's going to let me sleep very much tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.